Okay, so you know that feeling, right? When you're faced with a really big, messy problem, maybe something at work, a
Yeah.
health thing, a big money decision, and you just freeze.
Oh, totally. That sense of being completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, exactly. Where the stress and just the sheer amount of information, it doesn't just distract you, it feels like it actually shuts down your thinking.
That's it, that cognitive paralysis. And that's precisely what we want to dive into today.
Right.
See, most people hear mindfulness and think, okay, relaxation, de-stressing, which, yeah, it does do that.
Sure.
But the sources we've looked at, they define it and actually show it's a serious cognitive tool. We're going deep into the science that shows how this intentional practice actually enhances problem solving
Okay.
and boosts creativity and really shores up your decision making, especially when you're under pressure.
So let's nail down that core definition then, because
Yeah.
it sounds key. When we say mindfulness, what are we really talking about?
Okay, fundamentally, it's the intentional act of being fully aware of right now,
Right now.
meaning your thoughts as they happen, your physical feelings, what's going on around you, your environment. But here's the kicker: without judging it, without interpreting it.
Okay, so just noticing.
Exactly. It's like an enhanced state of attention, just purely on current reality.
Okay, so if mindfulness is about that enhanced focus, what's the thing it's fighting against in our heads?
Well, the main cognitive enemy, if you like, is something researchers have a term for: task unrelated thought. TUT.
TUT. Sounds appropriate.
It's basically just a technical way of saying mind wandering, zoning out.
And that happens a lot, right?
Mhm.
I remember seeing some figures.
Oh, constantly. You think you're focused on, say, a spreadsheet, but your mind's actually replaying an argument from yesterday or maybe worrying about next week's shopping list.
Yeah.
The estimates are kind of startling. Researchers figure our minds wander somewhere between 30%, maybe even up to 50% of our entire waking time.
Half the time. Wow.
Yeah, and that constant internal noise, that chatter, it's often the biggest barrier to effectively tackling a problem head on.
So mindfulness steps in as the counter agent.
Precisely. It acts like a mechanism to dial down that interference. The most immediate benefit, and the most people know, is it reduces stress and anxiety.
Which are definite thinking blockers.
Absolutely. They impair cognitive function straight away. So by calming the nervous system, mindfulness stops those volatile emotions from hijacking your higher executive functions, the logical planning parts of your brain.
Okay, so it calms things down.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's doing more than just making you feel relaxed.
Yeah.
It actually changes how your brain tackles the problem itself. Like, what's that trap we fall into, the thinking inside the box thing?
Yeah, researchers call that cognitive rigidity. It's our natural tendency to try and solve new problems using the same old mental habits.
With paths we always take.
Exactly. Paths that might have worked before but are just completely wrong for a new, unfamiliar challenge or crisis. Mindfulness has been explicitly shown to reduce this rigidity by forcing an increase in what's called mental flexibility. That's your ability to adapt, to see things from different angles, generate new perspectives.
And crucially, not get stuck in that one worn-out way of thinking.
Precisely. Avoiding that mental groove.
And I guess that flexibility, that's what leads to those creative sparks, those aha moments we're all hoping for when stuck on something.
It directly contributes, yes. Because when you clear out all that mental clutter, that TUT,
Right.
your focus sharpens, your concentration lasts longer. That sustained effort creates the mental space needed for creative and innovative solutions to actually bubble up.
Okay.
And maybe the most powerful mechanism underpinning all this is something called decentralization.
Decentralization. Okay, break that down for us.
It's basically about metacognitive awareness, thinking about your thinking.
Right.
It's the skill of seeing a negative thought like, oh, I'm definitely going to fail at this, or this problem is just impossible, not as some objective truth or a core part of who you are, just as a temporary, observable event passing through your mind, like watching clouds drift by. You notice them, but you know they aren't you, and they will pass.
So you detach from the thought.
Exactly. By externalizing those thoughts and feelings, they lose their emotional power over you. And that frees up your cognitive resources to deal with the actual objective facts of the problem itself.
Okay, the theory makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
but what about the proofs? Does the data back this up? I remember seeing a study, I think it was high school students in Iran,
Yeah.
Garmsar,
Yes, that's a significant one.
and the link they found between mindfulness and problem-solving skills was, well, it seemed almost too good to be true.
It was remarkably strong. It involved 341 students, so a decent sample size. And they reported the Pearson correlation, that's a statistical measure of the relationship between mindfulness and problem-solving styles, as 0.89.
0.89.
Yeah.
Just to give some context, in social sciences, anything over, what, 0.7 is considered huge, right?
Extremely strong, yeah, and quite rare, honestly. So 0.89 indicates an almost direct, very powerful positive relationship. Basically, the more mindful the student, the better their problem-solving approach.
And they looked at specific parts of mindfulness, didn't they? It wasn't just one vague thing.
Right, they broke it down. Things like the ability to observe your experience, to describe it without judgment, to act with awareness, that non-judgmental stance toward your inner feelings.
And non-reactivity.
And non-reactivity, exactly. Those specific components, all rooted in being present, were directly linked to how effectively those students tackled challenges.
That non-reactivity piece seems key. It suggests they weren't just, freaking out or giving up when things got tough or their first idea didn't work.
Precisely. They could maintain their composure, stay present with the difficulty, and keep working on it. That's pretty much the definition of resilience and problem solving, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, shifting gears a bit, we hear mindfulness in business thrown around a lot. Sometimes, honestly, it sounds a bit like corporate buzzword bingo.
I know what you mean.
Does the evidence really stack up there? Like, can being mindful truly help a leader avoid something as concrete as, say, the sunk cost bias? That feels like a big claim.
It might sound like a stretch, but the evidence in the decision-making field is actually quite compelling. Mindfulness isn't just a wellness perk. It's being integrated because it demonstrably helps across all the key stages of making effective decisions.
All 4 stages.
Okay.
Let's take the first one, framing the decision or problem. How does mindfulness help there?
When you're framing, mindfulness gives you the clarity and insight to really pin down your objectives. And yes, crucially, it helps you avoid that sunk cost trap.
How so?
Because of that decentralization we talked about, you're less emotionally tangled up with past investments, time, money, effort.
Ah, right. You can see the past effort as just past effort, not something that must dictate the future.
Exactly. So you can make the rational choice to cut bait on a failing project or strategy without being dragged down by irrational guilt or attachment.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the next stage, gathering information? We're all drowning in data these days.
Mindfulness helps filter the signal from the noise. It demonstrably improves working memory and overall cognitive function.
So you can hold more relevant facts in mind.
Yes, and better assess what is relevant, helping you avoid that feeling of information overload. And importantly, it increases your tolerance for uncertainty.
Which is huge, because you rarely have all the data you want.
Almost never in complex decisions. Then, when you get to the conclusion stage, actually making the call mindfulness helps by reducing emotional bias.
So you're less likely to go with what feels comfortable or safe, even if the logic points elsewhere.
Correct. It also seems to enhance intuition, but a grounded intuition, helping you navigate complexity and ambiguity more effectively.
Okay, and the final stage. Learning from experience, especially when things go wrong.
This is where it really shines, perhaps. It significantly reduces defensiveness.
Ah, so you don't immediately jump to blaming external factors. Market tank, my team dropped the ball.
Exactly. Instead of attributing failure solely to external things, a mindful person tends to be more open to hearing negative feedback. They can actually absorb the lessons from the mistake because their ego isn't quite so threatened. They see failure more as data for next time.
That resonates. We actually saw a really specific almost micro example of this in education,
Yep.
didn't we? That mindful maths action research study in the UK.
Yes, fascinating little study. They worked with year 10 students who were considered low ability in math, including some EL students and kids with really low confidence in statistics.
And the intervention was almost comically short.
Ridiculously short. We're talking as little as 1 minute of guided meditation or just mindful breathing.
1 minute? Seriously?
Just 1 minute right before they tackled these really complex, high-stakes GCSE statistics problems.
Wow. I mean, that almost feels insulting to the difficulty of the math, but it really highlights that the benefit isn't about spending hours meditating.
No, not at all. It's about the immediate state shift, that quick reset.
So what happened? What was the outcome?
Every student showed progress. And the researchers speculated that just that single minute of mindful centering likely boosted their achievement by at least 1 mark on the problems.
Just 1 minute for 1 extra mark?
Which, when you're talking about borderline grades, can be huge. And the mechanism, primarily it just seemed to instantly lower their anxiety levels and sharpen their focus for the task ahead. Incredible return on investment for 60 seconds, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely incredible.
Okay, so we've covered the why, the mechanisms, the evidence. It makes sense. Now, let's get practical. How can someone actually use this? Our sources map out a pretty clear 5-step process for mindful problem solving.
But a structured approach. Good. So defining the problem clearly, that always feels like half the battle. Is that step 1?
It absolutely is. Step 1, state your problem. And this isn't just a quick guess, it involves proper problem analysis. Asking those key questions. What exactly is the issue? Who is involved? Where and when does it happen? Why does it keep occurring?
Getting really specific.
Yes. And critically. What precise positive outcome do you actually want? Frame it in terms of the desired state, not just the problem.
Okay, problem defined. Then what? How do we start thinking about solutions without just defaulting to those old, rigid ways?
That brings us to step 2. Outline your solutions. And the mindset here is key. You have to approach this with openness, creativity, and zero judgment.
Easier said than done sometimes.
True. The goal is to brainstorm at least 3 distinct possible solutions. And again, frame them positively what you want to happen. Importantly, focus on your agency. What actions can you take, not what others should do?
Right, focusing on your locus of control. Okay, 3 potential solutions on the table. Now we need the how.
Exactly. Step 3, list your strategies. For each of those 3 potential solutions, you need to brainstorm a long list of specific, concrete actions you could take. Aim for at least 10 strategies per solution.
10 each. Wow, okay.
And the mindful rule here is absolutely no criticism or censorship during the brainstorm. Let everything out. Silly ideas, bold ideas, small ideas. Allow the strategies to flow from your authentic self, your values. It's about tapping into that non-reactive creativity.
Just get it all down on paper. Then comes the hard part, choosing.
Right. Step 4 is view the consequences. Now you get analytical. Take all those brainstorm strategies and narrow them down to maybe the best 3 overall. Then systematically evaluate each one.
Evaluate how.
Look at the likely positive and negative consequences. Consider the impact on yourself, on other people involved, and look at both short-term effects and long-term implications.
So you're weighing the pros and cons methodically.
Precisely. The most effective strategy will generally be the one with the highest score for positive outcomes and the lowest score for negative consequences.
Makes sense. And the final step, putting it into action.
Step 5, evaluate your results. Once you've picked your best strategy, break it down into small, simple, totally manageable steps, concrete actions. Then commit to actually doing them.
And if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
Because complex problems often require iteration.
If it fails, that's where the mindfulness practice really kicks in again. You immediately reframe that failure, not as a catastrophe, but as valuable data, a learning opportunity.
Back to that decentralization idea, the failure isn't you, it's just information.
Exactly. It informs your next attempt. You loop back, maybe refine the problem statement or brainstorm new strategies.
Okay, that 5-step process sounds really robust for tackling big, chunky challenges.
Yeah.
But what about day-to-day? needing clarity before a stressful meeting or just when you feel that overwhelm creeping in. Are there quick techniques listeners can use, like, right now?
Absolutely. There are several really effective, quick grounding techniques. The first one is often called the 3-minute breathing space. Super simple.
3 minutes, okay. How does it work?
Minute 1, just become aware of what's going on for you right now. What thoughts are present? What feelings? What body sensations? Just notice them. No judgment.
Yeah.
Minute 2. Gently narrow your focus entirely onto the physical sensation of your breath. Where do you feel it most? Nose, chest, belly. Use it as an anchor to the present moment.
Got it.
Minute 3. Gently expand your awareness back out. Feel the whole body sitting or standing. Notice the space around you, the sounds. It's a very rapid way to reset and regain perspective.
3 minutes. Doable. What's another quick one? Especially if your mind is just racing with thoughts.
A great one for pulling you out of rumination is the 5 senses exercise.
Yeah.
It's incredibly grounding because it forces your attention onto concrete external reality.
How does that work?
You just consciously, deliberately notice 5 things you can see right now in your environment. Then 4 things you can physically feel: the chair under you, your feet on the floor, the texture of your clothes.
Okay.
Then 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and finally 1 thing you can taste, even if it's just the lingering taste of coffee or the inside of your mouth.
Forces you right into the present moment through your senses. I like that.
It's very effective at interrupting that spiral of thoughts. And one more.
Yeah, give us one more quick technique.
A brief version of the body scan meditation. You don't need 30 minutes. Just take 60 seconds, maybe close your eyes if comfortable, and quickly sweep your awareness through your body.
How do you mean sweep?
You could start at the top of your head and mentally scan down towards your toes, or vice versa. Just briefly pausing at different areas: head, shoulders, chest, arms, legs, feet, and simply noticing any sensations, tension, warmth, coolness, or even any emotions associated with that area. Again, no judgment.
Just checking in with the body.
Exactly. It instantly reconnects your mind and body, pulling you out of your head and into physical reality. Very calming, very centering. #tag outro.
So if we boil it all down, I think the most crucial takeaway here is that mindfulness isn't some kind of magic wand. It doesn't just make your problems disappear.
Right. The difficult boss, the mortgage payment, the unexpected crisis, those demands are still there.
They're still real. What changes fundamentally is your response to those demands.
Our sources consistently show that practicing mindfulness builds up your adaptation energy. It fosters resilience. It unlocks those creative solutions that allow you to meet the demand effectively instead of feeling crushed by it or just reacting impulsively.
It creates that pause, doesn't it? That famous little gap between the stimulus, the stressful event, and your habitual, maybe unhelpful reaction.
Exactly that. And in that tiny space, that pause, that's where choice lives. You regain the ability to choose how you proceed, rather than just being driven by knee-jerk reactions or old patterns.
So the real shift maybe is moving away from seeing a tough situation purely as a problem to solve, which feels threatening, and starting to see it as a challenge to rise to.
Beautifully put. A challenge that you can meet by using your full cognitive toolkit, including that flexibility and insight that mindfulness cultivates.
Right.
So maybe a final thought to leave you mulling over. If practicing this regularly helps you day by day release a bit more stress than you take on, and it genuinely allows you to access more of your mind's natural flexibility and creativity, then what major challenge in your life right now? One that maybe feels unsolvable. What if it isn't actually unsolvable?
What if it's wanting?
What if it's simply a very tough decision that with this clearer, more resilient mindset, you're now finally ready and equipped to make?